So I'm watching this Netflix series right now called Earthstorm. And if you're not familiar with it, it's about natural disasters. So think tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, anything of the sort. And basically the little documentation of each episode's a different natural disaster. And it got me thinking about how climate and how nature, of course, because I do a lot of videos on nature, really correspond to our bodies. It's almost like a giant metaphor for what's going on inside. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the 5 elements, fire, earth, metal, water, wood, and how they not only nourish each other, they all work together in balance, but what does that exactly mean, and also how they control one another. So if you've watched some of my other videos, I do a lot on 5-element personality types and correspondences and emotions with 5 elements and all kinds of stuff. I'll put some video links below if you want to check those out. But today I wanted to kind of simplify things, if we can simplify things, and talk about it from the angle of, first off, let me just say, ancient Taoism was all about having human beings conform to the laws of nature. And if we look around us at nature, we see how everything works together. We see climate out of balance, which would be something like a natural disaster. So if we relate all of that into the 5-element system, which includes, you know, the names fire, earth, metal, water, wood, very nature-y, right? Elements. It makes a lot of sense when you're dealing with things like disease and mental illness. So, okay, these are the 5 elements, and each element works with you in your body. Okay, we're not just one element, we have all 5 within us, but sometimes a particular element may become out of balance, and this is where change happens with the chi in your body, where disease can manifest, all sorts of things. So when we talk about balance, what the hell does balance mean, right? What does that mean? Everybody's talking about balance, body, mind, soul, whatever, spirit, but what is it? So let's look at it from the 5-element system. So each element is the mother of the one that comes after it. So this is a big representation of life. So you have water, which is pre-birth, so think in the mother's womb. Then we go to wood, which is sprouting out, new growth. Then fire is like the height of your vitality in life. And then we start coming back into this yin state where we're starting to come back into our source. So basically this is the life cycle. So this is birth, go through our life cycle, but it's also death, coming back here, okay? And if you believe in things like reincarnation and eternal life and things like, you know, stuff like that, then this can make sense for you. But each element type has different correspondences to it. So organ systems, number 1. So this is the basis, the fundamentals of Chinese medicine. Each element is associated with a particular organ system. So fire is going to be heart and small intestine. Earth is going to be stomach and spleen. Metal is going to be lungs and large intestine system. Water is going to be kidneys and urinary bladder. And wood is going to be liver and gallbladder. So if you delve more into something like Chinese medicine, you will see that each organ system has a particular meridian associated with it, and this is where something like acupuncture would come in hand, or something like herbal medicine, where the acupuncturist, the practitioner, doctor, whoever, will see which meridian needs balancing based on whether the chi in your body is in excess or deficient. But one meridian can eventually or one organ system will eventually affect all the other ones because we're all connected. So when I say, all the elements nourish the one after them, they do, but they also control one another too. So think water puts out fire, okay? Wood breaks up earth. So when I say water puts out fire, think of if a fire gets out of hand, it needs water, right, to extinguish the fire. So these two, they need each other. Otherwise, too much heat, okay? Too much fire, drought, dryness, all kinds of stuff. Wood breaks up earth. Wood controls earth. That's more from the aspect of wood is like sprouts, like things growing from the ground, so breaking through the ground. This can be symbolic to your life too, breaking new territory. Wood is about growth, okay? Breaking new adventures in your life, something like that. So wood and earth work together. Fire melts metal. Fire melts metal. Alchemy. Metal has a lot to do with transformation and alchemy, and you need fire to be able to change metal into something else. It doesn't just necessarily do it on its own, so these work together. What else? Metal cuts wood, so think of an axe, chopping wood, chopping a tree, anything like that. So these guys need each other. And I skipped, earth soaks up water. So if you have too much water, say flooding, you need the earth to absorb the water. So when we think of natural disasters, we think of climate, weather patterns in excess or deficient. So it could be an excess of water or a deficiency of water in the case of flooding versus drought, okay? Tornado, because wood, each element also has a certain climate associated with it. So wood is wind, fire is heat, earth is damp and humidity, metal is dryness, water is cold. So wind, too much wind. Tornado alley, right? Too much heat, like I said. Fire, but it could also be dryness, like drought and stuff like that. Too much damp and humidity. And then too much cold and too much water, flooding. So look at this, transfer this climate. They were like, why are we talking about climate and weather and natural disasters? Transfer this to you and your body. And basically you have the perfect map representation of what goes on inside from a Chinese medicine perspective and philosophy. Because all of us, like I said, have all 5 elements. Each element is tied to a particular organ system in your body. So if you have too much dampness or humidity in your body, you may get things like sluggishness, tiredness, edema could be like too much water, or too much cold could be any kind of cold disease pattern you see, or heat disease pattern you see, like autoimmune diseases, or even like, like a RA or something. High blood pressure even could be, that has heat, but also wood associated wind symptoms could be tight tendons. If you think of like, it could be mental illness stuff happening. So all of these get transferred into your body, and you see of how we are connected with nature and how it really is just one big metaphor for everything that's going on. So if you look at your life, like I always say, kind of observe where you are, what disease patterns you might have right now, what symptoms you might be suffering from, and take a snapshot of like, okay, do I have heat symptoms in my body? Do I have a lot of red rashes coming out? I feel hot, that sort of thing. Do I have a lot of cold symptoms where I've like something with circulation? Do I have a lot of wind kind of symptoms? That one might be harder to tell, but that could look like stiffness in tendons and joints, but it could also be like headaches and stuff too. Do I have a lot of dampness and humidity in my body where I just feel heavy and I feel like I have brain fog and I feel fatigued all the time, right? And then dryness, like lungs, Lungs goes with metal. So dryness, am I a dry cough? Do I get allergies a lot? Like I can't breathe properly. So this just all plays a part. But then we'll go one step further, and you also have an emotion associated with each of these. I've done a video on emotions and the 5 elements before, specifically on that, if you want to check it out. But the emotion of that goes with wood is anger. Fire is going to be joy. Earth is going to be worry. Metal is going to be grief, and water is going to be fear. So say to yourself, okay, do I have a particular emotion that I'm sitting in right now? Am I always angry? And if I'm always angry, that also probably means that I have really tight tendons or I'm getting headaches a lot, okay? Because the mind and the body are interconnected. And often we see in Western medicine, we're so focused on just the body and not the spirit and not the emotional symptoms that go with it. But there's also spirit associated with each of these. I won't get into that now. But like heat, if you say joy for fire, heat, how does that play a part? It could be like mental illness, like mania sometimes, like inappropriate joy out of balance, lack of joy out of balance. So just because it's joy doesn't mean that it's like happy joy necessarily. That's just the term they used for it. And then earth, worry. So think of if you're feeling heavy, damp, like brain fog, you can't think straight sometimes. You get kind of like caught in your own thoughts, in your own mind. So that could be with that. Metal, dryness, let's see, where was I? Grief. So grief can take a very big toll on the lungs as well. So if you think about if you're grieving somebody or you're anything really, how exhausted you feel. It's because you can't take in a lot of air. You feel like heavy and tightness in the chest, and that's because it's all related to the lung region and the immune system and all kinds of stuff. And then water, kidneys, urinary bladder, fear is the emotion with water. So with that one, like frozen in fear, I guess you could say. Just frozen, you can't move in your life. So that could be kind of the symbolic or the representation of that. So I just wanted to do a quick video on how, you know, the elements and how they work together and they control one another, and how you can't just have one without another one affecting that one. And if you look at natural disasters, another example, you could say like disease patterns developing in your body is almost like a natural disaster in your body. It's too much of something or too little of something else. So that means something is not in balance in this cycle. So anyway, I hope this made sense and I hope you enjoy this video. Let me know if you have any questions. This gets very in-depth. There's a lot of correspondences with each of the elements, but I just want you to recognize that, you know, when you put yourself in a box of a disease state, that it's not just that, right? It's not just this. You have all of this that is also going to be affected, and it's not just the physical. You're also going to be affected mental, emotional, spiritual. Okay, so if somebody has chronic pain, it's going to affect them on a spiritual level as well, and vice versa. If somebody has something off with their spirit or some kind of depression or anxiety, it's probably going to eventually manifest as physical symptoms as well, because we're all interconnected. So anyway, have a great day. Like, share, subscribe, check out some of my other videos if you'd like to, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.